Ya marhab, ya marhab, ya marhab, ya marhab, ya marhab. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to our beautiful class. Now, from the test analysis, illegally embedded, right? We did have a test analysis. Analysis. We have problems in the, what do I call them? Elemental questions. I would suggest you do the December 2021 test. Yeah, Malik. موجود عندنا في classroom. We have problems مع elements of the passage. Elements of the passage معناها الpassage متكونة ازاي؟ متكونة على أساس إيه؟ So what do I mean by this, or what does this mean? We have problems with tone. We have problems with point of view. We have problems with audience. We have problems with analogies. We have problems with, I think, characteristics. It's available, ya Ahmad. I can't do that now, ya Malak, unfortunately. You didn't solve it, ya Ahmad, so I'm trying to make the dawr عليه. So we have problems fill unique questions. I don't know how to really categorize it. I call them elemental questions, elements of the passage. Bardu, we have problems with the style of writing, the type of writing. So we have a lot of problems with these things. And these things طبعا ما لهمش دعوة what's being said, right? When we talk about tone, it's not about what's said, it's how it makes you feel. When we talk about point of view, you have to be able to shift your point of view to the point of view of the writer. When we talk about audience, you have to be able to shift. So دلوقتي أنا الauthor أنا بكتب, right? أنا بكتب لمين بقى? So you guys have problems with this. Who is the appropriate audience? عشان أي وقت أنا بكتب حاجة في audience في دماغي. So I think of the type of person. So دلوقتي مثلا I'm writing a book. If I'm writing a book, what kind of book is it? نقول مثلا it's a book for anatomy. So who would the audience be? أكيد young learners or people in the medical field. مثلا analogies معناها an equal situation. Right? So هيديك موقف وانت لازم تدور على نفس الموقف. When we talk about character description, I'm a bit surprised by that, honestly, how the characters described. And when we talk about type of writing, well, fi anwa', there are many types of writing, right? You write a narrative, you write an exposition, you write a short story, you write an informative passage. There's so many ways to do this. So in the Harda, when we review this exam, we'll review these elemental questions. And أنا بقول عليهم elemental questions, right? عشان basically it's elements of writing. Elements of writing follows most of these, not all of them, but most of them. So let's open up this test. So النهارده مش هركز على literal comprehension و inferences, هركز على elemental based questions, because you know I keeps it based. Okay, there you go. So we're going to be working on these questions. We're going to re-solve them. Oops, I got to go to my account to delete it. نشوفها تاني من البداية. So give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to my account. مالك سامح, you want me to delete your account برضو. أنا ما بحبش delete accounts عشان لو بتعملوا exercises بيسجل كل حاجة احنا عملناها. Hopefully في خلال الأسبوعين دولت هعمل updates للتست انجن سو نقدر ناخد الامتحان اكتر من مره، نقدر نخرج ونخش براحتنا، نقدر نعمل حاجات كتير قوي اكتر ما احنا بنعمله دلوقتي. But it's going to take about 2 weeks according to my developer. Oops. Habibti Malak, I'm not sending any links. Please guys, محدش يقول لي send links. Malik Sameh, you are any واحد Malik Noor 2004 or Malukakoki. Malukakoki. What's your email, Malik? Okay, so why am I deleting both? It's not available in both accounts? I deleted the first one, Malak 2004. So let's begin. Welcome to class. Ahmed, Ali, Karen, Ahmed Tabatili in analytics. Kenzie didn't. So what's going on there, Kenzie? Huh? Kenzie Habibi, Ahmed. It's the reading passage. It's the reading test. It's not the grammar test. Literacy 2. ازاي كنزي؟ هو موجود الاناليتكس يا جماعه في الامتحان ده، مش ذاكر لي حاجه في البروجرس. I don't understand how. المفروض يظهر لك الامتحان as long as you solved it. Okay, so let's get started. These are the elemental questions اللي احنا هنركز عليها. Okay? So طبعا احنا قرينا الباسجز خلاص، احنا حلينا الموك تيست وكل حاجه. However, we're going to resolve the questions. سمعتوني ولا لا؟ We're going to resolve the questions. بس اما اجي اسالكم فين where you need to show me. Okay? If I ask you where, you need to show me. Okay, let's begin my question number 1. Please begin. Now I need to know where. Why would you say that, Kenzie, in model 1? What makes you say that? عشان أنا مش عايز نحل عن memory بس. You should be able to tell me, Mr. Osama, it is this. عشان هنا وهنا وهنا وهنا. We have to practice this. 10 seconds left. And it could be anywhere. صح? Okay, Mariam, that's good. So here, let's begin. The tone of the passage is best described as, we're going to please send all answers to Mr. Sim answers. Tense and unsettled, right? A lot of people are telling me tense, yani there's a lot of tension. And unsettling means uncomfortable, right? There's too much energy for me to sit down. Okay, good job, Ahmed. Good. Arwa, what about you? What about you, Marwan? Where does it say it? So here, occurred the first of the mysterious events. Thank you, Mrs. Rose. بس لما نيجي نحدد the tone, by the way, مش بس في البداية. The tone is set throughout the passage. وهوريكم word choice that creates this tone. عشان لو تقولي mysterious ليه ما قلناش ambiguous or strange؟ ده برضه mysterious, right? So مع tone, you don't stick your answer from one word. You stick your answer in many lines عشان هيظهر في كل line numbers, right? So here, for example, the mysterious events. Thank you, Mrs. Adwa. It was bitter, cold, hard frost. Do you see the emotions these elicit? He sank daily. Unpleasant gust. A pinching, frosty morning. Do you see? التون بيظهر في كل line numbers, مش line number واحدة. So don't stick yourself in a corner. Right, let's go to the next paragraph. Look at this. A man I had never set my eyes before. He was pale, tallowy. There was also the part where he was missing fingers, right? What else? What else? A lot of places you get out. خصوصا في الآخر, where they say, oh, that's the captain, والراجل بيستخبى. That's also unsettling. Look at this one right here. The expression of his face as he said these words was not at all pleasant. So زي ما انتم شايفين, with a tone-based question, don't stick yourself in a corner. يعني مش عايزين نشوف tone question وننط على طول على أول كلمة نشوفها. Tone is not established with one word. Tone is established في الباسج كلها. Every line, every two lines هيظهر لكم some sort of tone, right? And then the other part, the stranger kept hanging about just inside the door, peering around the corner like a cat waiting for a mouse. All of this is tense and unsettling. Tranquil and calming, معناها هادي, thrilling and invigorating. I don't think it's thrilling, actually it's slow. And invigorating is like energizing. It's not really energizing, it's more like scary. Ambiguous, يعني unclear. And strange and gharib, right? So tense and unsettling. Let me see best the characterizations in categories عندي. Inference, character description. Number 10, 5, right here. Which of the following best describes the narrator? A lot of you guys got this wrong. عايز اقول لكم على حاجة. أما واحد بيكتب قصة, especially literary narrative, وعامة أي قصة, any story, any form of writing, الناريتور أو الرايتر بيكتب لك شخص بيحكي لك القصة, the narrator. وده الشخص, the narrator is a person. ممكن narrator يبقى objective عادي زي في scientific passages, or ممكن narrator يبقى عنده نفسه characteristics, like a character. The narrator is a character. The narrator is a character. Well, like any character, عنده character traits, عنده tendencies, عنده مش عارف ايه, حسب الباسج. زي مثلا a fictional passage, it's a full character. A scientific passage, it's a scientific character. Historical passage, you'll find a knowledgeable character. So لازم نبدأ نشوف the narrator as a character. So here بقى, which of the following best describes the narrator? وهنا, I want you to show me where you found your answer. ده مهم قوي. That's one of the most important things. And you might be solving from memory, which I don't care about دلوقتي. I care about فين في الباسج. ده مهم بقى. ممكن أي حد يحفظ الإجابات، بس مش أي حد يعرف يقول لي الإجابة الصح بسبب كذا. Yeah, بالظبط Rose. There you go. Right on the head. And the character of the narrator بتظهر في الباسج كلها. مش في one or two line numbers. Good job, good job. And when you're able to tell me why the answer is what it is, okay, then you'll have a better understanding of describing the narrator. The answer is B, naive and compliant. Why though? Why is the answer B? بالظبط يا علي. You see, you guys are able to tell me which way is gone. أنا مش فاهم يا مريم. I'm sorry. Mariam, no, that does not show. Well, actually, it does, tell you the truth. Good job. بالظبط أروى. The explanation is very simple. وما احنا نقدر نبدأ نكون explanations for ourselves ده هيرفع ال reading score astronomically. إيه رأيكم في الكلمة ديت؟ Right, so we said naive and compliant. Naive يعني ignorant, جاهل, green, unworldly. Compliant يعني obedient. And it's shown everywhere in the passage, right? For example, the captain asks questions. والboy بيعمل إيه? Answers the questions. وبيرد على كل الإجابات. ما بيسيبش ولا إجابة. أما الراجل قال له تعالى نستخبى. الناريتور عامل إيه؟ استخبى. بس فين بقى naive? And naive comes, I think, near the end. I think near the end. When the boy knows the guy is scary and knows the guy is untrustworthy. ولسه بيجاوب على كل الإجابات وكل الأسئلة. Right? Naive and compliant. Let's try another question. Number 6. Literary devices. Man, you guys, عيب على الإنجليش teachers عندكم تجيبوا السؤال when the stranger shows bad intentions and the boy neglects it. Very good job, أروى. عيب على الإنجليش teachers أو أنتوا مش تعرفوا يعني إيه literary devices. This is a very basic thing in elements of writing. Allegory, irony, hyperbole, foreshadowing, simile, metaphor, personification, onomatopoeia. نيجي نكتب احنا بنستخدم literary devices. It's very normal. Every writing has a literary device. Okay? So let's go to the answer choice, right? And the answer choice is, what does the author use? Foreshadowing. How do you know? واحنا برضه هنreview the meanings of each one of these. How do you know the author uses foreshadowing? How? انت قولي لي how. It's in the beginning here. In the beginning, where بقى? That's what I want to know. Where does he use foreshadowing? الفكرة إني in باقي choices don't work. لا, that's not good enough يا كنزي. No, أروى. Excellent job, Ali. What line numbers do you give out? You guys can write me line numbers. That's not foreshadowing. Okay, let's review the meanings of each of these words. It's really important احنا نفهم يعني ايه literary devices عشان literary device بيظهر في any form of writing. Okay, any form of writing. So for example, an allegory is like something that has a hidden meaning. Right? بيقول لك قصة بس تحتيها ليها معنى. Irony is an unexpected result. وطبعا it's not unexpected, a twist. It's expected in the passage. Right? عشان طول الوقت the tone is tense, unsettling, uncomfortable. Hyperbole is extreme exaggeration. Black dog is not an allegory, Maryam. Black dog is not an allegory. Again, an allegory is like a small story. بيقول لك بقى في حاجة تحتيها. Some meaning to it. There's foreshadowing. يعني to indicate the future. فين بقى؟ ممكن حد يقول لي موجودة من lines 1 through 10. I'm a bit disappointed عشان معظمنا ما عرفناش نحدد الphrase that shows me foreshadowing. No, it does not need to be through the whole passage. A literary device does not need to be through a whole passage. That's tone, diction, but not literary devices. يعني لو بستخدم metaphor لازم استخدمها كل حتة؟ No. Foreshadowing is just ممكن مرة واحدة عادي. بيسألني which one was used. Does anybody know where the foreshadowing is? Yeah, بالظبط يا Lujine. 1 until 5. It was not very long after this that there occurred the first of the mysterious events. Oh, that's foreshadowing. He's telling me this occurred the first of the mysterious events. يعني في more mysterious events. Habibti, Maryam, please pay attention to my screen. Please pay attention to my screen. Okay, it's giving us a hint here that there will be more events in the future that will be mysterious. Hello, Karen. Please participate. Hello, Malik Muhammad, Marwan Shahza. Please participate. Thank you. Let's try another one right here. Any more elemental questions? Literary devices. Oh, okay. Like an evidence question. Ma'alima. Hassel khair. Vocab and I think, oh, last one. Number 10. The reaction to black dog. Okay, guys. The captain's reaction to black dog is similar to the reaction of, this is an analogy. So حنشوف the reaction اللي جه هنا, the context of the reaction, and then we look for that same equal reaction in the answer choices. So I'll give you a minute. Read around, hold the figure out in context. Definitely not. Yeah, Ahmed. But why you can't see? What makes you say that? لازم, we have to take context into account. We have to take context. بالظبط يا كنزي. أروى okay, but why? We have to take. Good job, Ali. But why, Mariam? I wouldn't say that. Very good job, Rose. Context مهم أول حاجة. When I ask about analogy طبعا أنا لازم أحط بين passage من ضمن حساباتي. We know it's unsettling. We know there's a strange guy. A guy نيته مش مظبوطة. A guy مش ثقة. صح؟ Very good job, Lajine. Very good job, Arwa. No, I'm sorry. Lajine, no. Arwa. Okay. Okay. So we have to take account of the passage. وحتى لدرجة the strange man بيستخبى ورا باب, right? And then Captain بيخش. Now let's see what happens. I'm going to begin a little bit earlier, and there you go. Bill, said the stranger, a voice that I thought he had tried to make bold and big. The captain spun around on his heel and fronted us. All the brown had gone out of his face, and even his nose was blue. He had the look of a man who sees a ghost or the evil one, or something worse, if anything can be, and upon my word, I felt sorry to see him. Come, Bill, you know me. You know an old shipmate, Bill. Surely, said the stranger. The captain made a sort of gasp. What's the captain's reaction? What is the captain's reaction? Shock, fear, scared, worried. And how do we know this? It was like seeing a ghost. The captain saw the man. It was like he sees a ghost or an evil one. And the captain gasped. So now we're looking for reaction like this. Right, a lot of people told me, see, a woman seeing a rival coworker coincidentally after years. Well, although homomorphic rivals, not saying they're not, I feel like they could be, but they weren't, right? I think they were friends. But again, let's chill out and think about this. So if a woman sees a rival, would she be scared of the rival? A rival is a competitor. So we really don't know what kind of rival we're talking about. A rival on the battlefield or a rival at work. But we do know, when a woman sees a competitor, a rival, does that indicate shock, fear? Does that indicate as if the woman saw a ghost or something evil? No. Look at context muhim. It would be B, a cat randomly confronted by a dog in the street. We have to think about this in relationships between dogs and cats. Well, we know dogs hunt cats. And so the cat saw the dog randomly. How would the cat react? Shocked, fear, scared. Well, the captain, Bill, he randomly saw the black dog. It wasn't set up or figured, it was a surprise. So this would be an analogous situation. Okay, we're going to be done with passage 1. We're going to go, oops, what did this do? Okay, cool. On the next one. Passage number 2. And now, this passage, كانت تقيلة. Right, what do I mean by تقيلة? There is a lot of details there that really, really made this passage very difficult to fully comprehend, right? It made it very, very difficult, which is okay. Why is it okay? Well, because you don't get stuck in the details. أول كان في كم سؤال بيسألنا very specific things in question. اسمع لنا, you don't get stuck in the details. That's really important that we understand. Okay. Let me see the question types. Organization. Number كام? Number 12. I'm a bit برضو surprised that a lot of us got this wrong. The overall text structure of the passage is best described as, I'm a bit surprised. I'll give you 1 minute, so just take a minute. Good job, Rosen Kenzie. بالضبط, Lujain, Ahmed and Mariam, very good job. "15 seconds left. Ahmed and Mariam, very good job. All right, this is a scientific passage. بيكلمني عن إيه؟ بيكلمني عن mountains. Cool, right? A lot of people are telling me it's very informative. It is informative. You have to know why it's informative. أول حاجة cause and effect. I mean, cause and effect معناها basically أول 50 lines will discuss a cause. بعد كده آخر 50 lines هيحكي لي effect. مش بس line وline. لازم نفهم كده. بطلوا تحطوا نفسكم في الصندوق وتركزوا بس على حاجة واحدة. One more time. Cause and effect. لما يجي يسألني على structure of the passage, that means the first half of the passage بيحكي لي a cause, and then the second half of the passage بيحكي لي some sort of effect. Right? So you wouldn't say it's cause and effect. And investigation, well, ممكن a science passage يبقى investigative, by the way. But يبقى investigation على أساس إيه? What would make this passage investigative? It's up to the giant. If there's a research question, experiment, discoveries. حاجة زي كده. A question to answer, a problem they're trying to solve. So that's what you have to think. I'm making out a passage and بس نفسي, well, are they solving some sort of solution, a problem? Are they finding something out? Are they looking for a discovery? Right? Well, what about argumentative? عامة. Scientific passages are not argumentative. Scientific passages مش متكونة عشان يقنعك بحاجة. Argumentative writing معناها persuasive writing. معناها أنا عايز أقنعك بفكرة معينة. It could be argumentative in one case. وإيه هو? When could a scientific passage be persuasive? Double passage, I wouldn't think so, Ahmed. Stick to one passage best, right? When would there be arguments? I'm an author بيحكي لك on different theories. وليه الtheories ده صح وليه الtheories ده غلط. So it's informative. And how do we know it's informative? بس بيديك facts مش أكتر. Fact. Let me see. Un momento. Organization, type of support. برضو a lot of us got this wrong. The author used which of the following to support his text. يعني ايه direct quote? What is a direct quote? Some scientist said something. So there's quotations from a scientist. Well, I'll give you 1 minute, Awal. Here. Take a minute, solve this question. I wouldn't say that, Mrs. Kenzie. Definitely not. Maybe you don't know the meaning of the word. This is a scientific passage. One of those answers. Your answer, Kenzie, أول واحد اتشال, just so you know. But is that there, ya Mariam? Why Marwan? Is that in the passage of Mariam? To support his text, to support his ideas about volcanoes, do we use statistics? So this is the problem. When I support my ideas, في many types of support, and we're going to نستخدمها. In a non-fiction passage, there are support زي authority, right? واحد عنده خبرة في الموضوع. بس أنا بقول فلان عنده 20 30 40 سنة خبرة في طب بينصحنا بكذا. You can also use statistics برضو على فكرة, right? And in statistics, every 8 out of 10 people, have a headache. You can برضو use a direct quote. A direct quote معناه بيجيب لك واحد عنده خبرة في التوبيك وبيقول فلان قال بعدين في quotations, right? What else can we use in these types of passages? These are the 3 main things. Anecdote ما ينفعش نهائي. Scientific passages are objective. Science, social science, they're objective. Objective معناه مش بدخل رأيي, مش بدخل نفسي. أنا بقول لك facts وبس. خصوصاً يا كنزي, أساساً إحنا قلنا this passage is informative. مستحيل نقول فيه anecdote. An anecdote is a personal story. Or we can also say personal experience. So there are no anecdotes used. Well, what's the statistics? If I'm looking through, you have to understand a statistic معناها رقم sample من ال population والsample ده بيورينا whatever. So also there are no statistics used. However, authoritative references used. Authoritative reference يعني أنا بجيب شخص خبير في المجال ده وده بيدينا نصيحة. Here, Dr. T. Sherry Hunt calls them porphyroid tractites. This is an authoritative reference, right? Another one, this should be Dr. or Benji considers another authoritative reference. So there's more than one place in which the writer بيكلم وبيقول الدكتور فلان. ما تلخبطوش. Years for statistics. It's a professional. Don't confuse years for statistics. Years are not statistics. Statistics معناها أنا بحط some sort of sample قدام the general population. So this is not, if you got confused, as statistics. So an authoritative reference is used here in more than one area, and I wouldn't go in, but there's also, I think, later on where he also uses a professional في الخبرة. Well, authoritative reference مش شرط يبقى quote. يعني quote في حد بيقول حاجة authoritative reference عادي نقول دكتور فلان رأيه كذا. So مش شرط ال authoritative reference يبقى فيه direct quote. ممكن بس مش هنا. مفيش direct quote من الريفرنس. Oh, there's an evidence question برضو. Right, the evidence here will be 74 until 81. Endorsed by Humboldt, another authoritative reference. That's obviously a doctor. بيتكلم عنه من شوية or earlier on. Okay. إيه كمان. This one, number 16. You guys have huge problems with number 16. The author assumes which of the following to be true of the reader. So I'll give you a minute, knock it out. Why would you think that, Kenzie, Mariam? Why would you girls think that? This is an audience question, by the way. What does the author assume about the reader? Marwan, no, Ahmed, okay? Okay, Kenzie. Dr. Rose. Yes, Jahan. Yeah, the audience is us, مش us. يعني الauthor ده يا مريم كتب الباسج. أكيد في ناس معينة في دماغه هو كتب الباسج ليهم. Right? So here, for example, the author, he gives us all types of names, right? Look at this, like all this information هنا. طبعا مش هقعد هقرا كل حاجة. Names of volcanoes, all of that here, right? All of this here. But does he give us background information? Does he help us understand these volcanoes, the features of these volcanoes? No. على طول بيقول لك volcano كذا 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 شبه volcano كذا 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 with no background information. That means the audience بتاعته هو audience people that he wrote this passage for have some knowledge about volcanoes and rocks. And he also talks a lot about rocks, right? Talks about a lot about rocks. So that's why the answer would be C. The reader is familiar with the names of the volcanoes and technical terms of the types of rocks. Now, you told me A, yeah, Ahmed, not Ahmed, Marwan. The reader is familiar with a substance that emits from the Ecuadorian volcano. Well, that's not true. عشان the Ecuadorian volcanoes have rarely ejected liquid lava, but chiefly water and mud. Well, بدينا extra information بفهمنا what was ejected. Right? But you go and see the reader's familiar with the names, with the rocks. عشان he says it a lot without any sort of definition or explanation. Okay. That's it for that passage. Now notice every passage has about 4 or 5 questions that are a bit, weird. Let's see, passage number 3. Oh, point of view. Just as, what number is that? Number 23. Just as you should understand who the passage is written for, you should also understand who wrote the passage. الاثنين دول مهمين. بتاخد فكره عن the author وبتاخد فكره عن الreader. So the passage 1 is most likely written from the point of view of here. Look at passage 1. Think about this. Who could have written this passage? What about the language? Language برضه بيقول لكم who could have written this passage. Why, Ali? Why, Kenzie? What makes you say that? بالظبط, Rose. You can look at it generally. You can look at it specifically. Hi, Yasmin. Can talk about animals. Anybody can talk about animals. بالظبط. يا مريم, Malak, good. Marwan, okay? Yes. So why are we getting these wrong? Some people told me an amateur veteran, a layman يعني راجل عادي, a common man, a farmer or a professional veterinarian, right? So he tells you here, you need to recognize the nature of disease. You need to be able to identify physiological functions of the different organs of the body. أكيد layman or farmer أولاً مش بيكلموا كده. تاني حاجة, they wouldn't write like this, right? And they wouldn't talk about this physiological functions. No, that's not in proper or normal language, right? And then we're talking about, look at this language. Look at the use of language here. With the animal, when it's in good health, in order to be able to recognize any deviation from the normal due to disease, right? So all of this shows us, well, it's a veterinarian, but is it an amateur or a professional, right? Is it a beginner vet or a professional vet, right? Well, I would say it's a professional. غير language used, he talks about the examiner. Whether he be a layman or a veterinarian, must observe the animal carefully. He's speaking in very specific steps how to solve or how to help an animal heal. So that's why I would say answer D, a professional vet. Literal comprehension, no. Paired vocab, no. Exception. Exception questions, they're not hard. Okay, which of the following is not mentioned in the passage? Of course, أنا دلوقتي مش هخليكم تقروا الباسج ومش عارف ايه وكده. An exception question means 3 of the answers are present, موجودة في الباسج, and 1 answer is not present, مش موجودة في الباسج, right? If I can remember correctly, I think it was answer C, carbonate of soda is given in all cases. Now, خد بالكم, أما أجي بقى أبص في الإيفيدنس هيقول عكس إجابتي. لازم تفهموا كده. عشان what is not mentioned in the passage, I give it C. Carbonate of soda is given in all cases. So أما أجي أدور في الإيفيدنس, أنا مش بدور على الفكرة I give it C. أنا بدور على عكسها. So المفروض بقى الإيفيدنس يقول لي carbonate of soda is given in some cases of diarrhea. And I think it's here. Here, this would be the evidence, right? In a more obstinate form, هنا بيتكلم عن disease. The author's talking about disease here. In a strong case, right? If the disease is very strong, then you give the animal carbonate of soda. So that's why احنا بنقول إجابة C مش موجودة في الباسج because إجابة C بيقول لي in all cases ولكن in passage بيقول لي only in strong forms. Let me just see the question categories. 28 types of support, number 29. Again, here. The author discusses diarrhea as a common disease for cattle. Which of the following best provides evidence for the author's credibility? Another question بيسألك على الauthor على اللي بيكتب. So خلاص سألنا على point of view. دلوقتي بيسألنا بقى how do you know this man can be trusted? What makes you think this man is a trustworthy, credible, يعني trustworthy, right? Is a trustworthy source. Begin. Okay, Rose. Okay, Lujain and Ali. Okay, Marwan. So again, why addictive information اي حد right خصوصا لو informative passage ولازم في سبب I trust this guy right لازم في حاجه يقول لي في passage this guy is credible. And here, well, it's a well-known veterinarian. We don't know this. Look at given B, and you have to think about this. The author defines diarrhea and its symptoms. This is why you would trust him? Because if you look at the definition of diarrhea, no, you would definitely not. Right? You would go, everybody told me C. The author uses specific references to treatments in all cases of diarrhea. Anyway, he does use specific references. He tells us here, look at this. بيقولها بقى in mild form اديله كذا twice a day. In a stronger form, give them مش عارف ايه. Right? Elk bank tea will be found very useful in these cases, or one of the following powders twice a day. Very, very specific. بيقول لك ياخدوا ايه وقد ايه وكل كام يوم. So this is very credible information to me. You guys surprisingly did good in double questions. Let's go to the next passage. Egyptology. This was a cool passage. I like this passage. The first two paragraphs, character description. I like this passage a lot. It was very entertaining بالنسبة لي. It was about a white guy فاكر نفسه هينزل مصر والناس مستعدة يشتغلوا تحت رجله كده وفي الآخر اتبهدل. This is cool. I'll talk in these exams. You have one Egyptology passage. So how would the character, the professor, be described in the first two paragraphs? So again, don't put yourself in a hole, okay? وتركزوا على كلمة واحدة. You go through the two paragraphs, والمفروض بقى في كذا location يقول لك, well, this is the guy. No money. Yes, Kenzie, why? Okay, Lajine, why? Why was, right? Good job, Ali. Good job, Ahmed, but why? These are the questions بقى. Good job, Kenzie. بيجي سؤال 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 وفي الآخر بنلاقي أساسا كلهم على بعضيهم 22 سؤال. So we can't neglect these types of questions. And they're easier على فكرة, I think. Good job, Rose and Marwan. Good job, Lujain. Good job, Ahmed. He uses imagination. Right here. All of that talks about the English guy. بقى he'll dig a hole. وفي الهول ده بقى هيلاقي treasuries كلها. Gold, silver, stones, green before him in his imagination. وطبعا احنا عارفين الكونتكست. عارفين في الآخر context مهم برضه, right? في الآخر راح مصر اتبهدل رجع انجلند وإيده فاضية. He's ignorant to reality. Ignorant of reality. Duh. That can evidence question برضه. I classified the evidence that as comprehension evidence. 16 until 19. Right there. Ikemen. Vocab, paragraph summary. I am shocked. We got paragraph summary incorrect. I am just absolutely shocked. I figured a paragraph summary would be easier for you guys, right? I mean, 92 until 108. So I want you guys to read these line numbers. Take a minute, read them, and make a summary again now. It's just asking you the main idea if it goes down. Good job, Rose. Kenzie, no. No, Kenzie. No. Okay. Okay, Karen, good. Let's read this. If the dawning interest of the reader has not been thoroughly cooled by these 12 words, I actually want to know what are those 12 words? Whatever. It may be presumed that it will be utterly annihilated. So I can assume your interest will be destroyed by the following narration of my first fruitless excavation. And thus one will be able to continue the story with relieved consciousness that nobody is intending. In the capacity of assistant to Professor Flinders Petrie, I was sent many years ago to the task of excavating a supposed royal cemetery in the desert behind the ancient city of Abydos in Upper Egypt. 2 mounds are first attacked, and after many weeks of work and digging through the sand, the superstructure of 2 great tombs was bare. So, what best summarizes the passage? The author's preparing the reader for disappointment. Okay, he's doing that, of an excavation, and the beginning of his experience as an excavator. Well, I kind of like this. Hashem, well, he's preparing us for disappointment. And then he's telling us about his own experiences. I'm sorry, Rose, you're wrong right there. My apologies. I like this answer. The author's finalizing his previous claims of preparing to discuss Professor Flinders' experience. No, it's I, the narrator, not Professor Flinders. The author's complaining about Fru's excavation and begins to propose his first experience as an assistant to Professor Petrie. Well, there's a few things wrong here. Is the author complaining? I wouldn't say the author's complaining. Complaining محتاجة a set of diction, certain words to show me the author was complaining. But ma'alina, let's say, well, okay, and begins to propose his first experience as an assistant to Professor Petrie. He's not talking about his first experiences with Professor Petrie. He's talking about his first experiences excavating, not his experience with Professor Petrie. Right? So there's a couple of things here. I wouldn't say that. You have to really think about these answers. And you have to ask yourself, in these two paragraphs, is he complaining? No, the author is not complaining. You should be sticking, right? So I'll go with answer A here. The author is preparing the reader for disappointment, and he does, right? I assume you're disappointed. I assume your interest wasn't. And the beginning of his experience as an excavator, aywa, right? He talks about how sent many years ago to excavate. Tone, really strange, Babdu. Number Chem, 37. The use of parentheses in line 15 conveys a tone of, okay. Punctuation has function, right? Yeah. I want you best to read this, read around. Read a big chunk of this, start to figure out the context. I have to pick this. بالضبط Rose. What is the tone now? Remember we talked about tone وتون ظهر. So the tone هنا في البداية well, it conveys a specific tone, right? And what tone is conveyed here? Well, sarcasm. Why? How do parentheses and phrase that show us sarcasm? Well, usually with parentheses, it's called to give the reader an aside. It's called an aside. An aside يعني a narrator breaks from telling you the story and then tells you a comment كده في السريع في النص بعد كده بيكمل الstory. So what is happening here? The white guy, the British man, right? He expected the lower status to dig a little hole, right? Must the lower status people, but the Egyptians, these racist white people, the lower status people هيحفروا في الأرض بعد كده بقى هيفتح بقى you know الgold والsilver stones we. So here, the lower status to dig a little hole in the ground to open the way to the treasuries of the pharaohs, as one would expect. صح؟ So what is the tone here? It's sarcasm. يعني الراجل ده بيهزر، ازاي هو بقى فاكر نفسه هيروح وفجأة كده هيحفر في الأرض ويلاقي you know treasures, as one would expect. You see that? That's sarcasm. Do we expect that? No, of course not. Merriment, yani happiness, disdain is like pain. Writing again, another writing question. The perspective from which the author, writers influence the style of text so that it resembles. Okay. What kind of text is this? Hello. Hello. Is there anyone out there? Just nod if you hear me. Is there anyone home? Come on. Yeah. I heard you're feeling down. Well, I can heal your pain. Get you on your feet again. Relax. I need some information first. What about the rest of my beautiful students? انتوا فين يا جماعة؟ Okay. يعني ايه dissertation؟ يعني ايه dissertation? Does anybody know? Did he mention a given C in the passage? I don't think so. The writing style هنا. بالظبط Rose. But what's a dissertation? A dissertation is your PhD. يعني انت بتكتب PhD. انت بتكتب يعني a theoretical path. Research, excuse me. A report, well, again, a report معناها بقى experiment results وحاجة, some sort of result. A narrative جاي من كلمة narrator, which would be for I, and a fairy tale, once upon a time. Right? Fairy tale طبعا has fantastical elements, right? So what kind of style do we have here? We have a narrative. How do we know we have a narrative? عشان قاعد بيقول I, right? بيكلم it switches في النص. Okay, a dissertation. When you write a dissertation, that's your PhD. واحد بيعمل PhD, they have to do a research report. So that's called a dissertation. You do some sort of theory. وفين I يا جماعة؟ There you go. Boom. Once you see that, you know it's a narrative. Another point of view question? What? Here, the author is most likely. Who is the author? Who wrote this? How do you know? These are questions يا جماعة. على فكرة الأسئلة ديت أسهل من الكومبريهنشن والأفيدنس بكتير قوي. عشان ده مش محتاجة كتير, right? كان زي وجاين. Okay, good. مريم عدنان على أساس إيه؟ No, it does not. Yeah, Rose, what line numbers does it say that? Fanny Rose. لا. He's assessing not a student. He's a professor أساسا. مروان, okay, توبايا وأحمد. ازيك يا توبايا؟ عامل إيه؟ He's definitely not a student, يا Rose. He's an assistant professor. الجزء كان بيتكلم عن professor whatever. أيوة assistant professor عادي. He's not a student. ده حاجة وده حاجة. Now, he says here, I've had the peculiarly good fortune to be an actor, right? Some students شافوها وقالوا he's an actor. B, no. هو اشتغل. He worked as an actor, but he's not an actor هنا. Did you like that? Where's the line number that talks about the professor guy? There it is, okay. My fruitless excavation. I was set many years ago to the task of excavating a rural cemetery. There you go. And he was an assistant to professor. So you're not going to say student, you're not going to say an actor, you're not going to say a novel writer. He's an experienced archaeologist. How do we know he's experienced? Actually, he went on excavations. Oh, evidence. Who cares? Let's go to the final passage. We're not going to have enough time to cover all of the questions. بس ما علينا. The diamond passage. Main idea, no problem. Comprehension, evidence, vocab, cause, and effect. I know, Kenzie, we're almost done. Vocab, comprehension, evidence, graph and graph. So there's no strange questions هنا or elemental questions هنا. We're going to wrap this up. First of all, there's going to be a mock test, writing, due يوم الخميس. Okay, الموck test هكونها بكرة. هظبط الcategories tomorrow إن شاء الله وأنزلها في الكلاسروم عندنا. Make sure you do the mock tests. Okay, يوم الخميس هتخلصوا الموك تيست. يبقى قدامكم 3 4 خميس. بعد كده الجمعة نعمل ريفيو على الموك تيست. بعد كده السبت هنعمل reading mock test. بعد كده الحد هنعمل reading mock test review. and then يوم الاثنين guess what we're gonna do? Somebody guessed? Anybody guess? We're going to another mock test review. Boom. ده أول حاجة. تاني حاجة عايز أقول لكم I've uploaded so many passages, so many very difficult writing questions under skill drill. So I want you guys to practice that عشان it is very difficult وإحنا لازم نتعود على الديفيكولتي ده. Okay? We're done for today. Hey. I don't even know where my... Oh, there you go. Any questions before we go today? Basically, a program for next 2 weeks, your mock test, your review, your mock test, your review. So hopefully you'll finish 6 or 7 mock tests. Any questions before we go? You can learn anything. Mr. Osama out. Bye.